Okay, what is KPI? KPI is Key Performance Indicator. Now, anybody who is running a business would know that there are certain things in that business that you have to monitor. And I can tell you, if you are not monitoring it, you are not controlling it. Right? Now, what are some of the traditional things that you would look for in your business to know if it's doing well? Can anybody tell me?
Cash flow.
Your cash flow, right? What else? What else would you monitor? You monitor your cash, what else? Sales. Why are you in business? You could be selling a whole lot and not making any profit. So you need to know your profit. Probably you might want to know your stock level and all that sort of stuff. Now, what we are doing these days is to, instead of having to look at all these many things, is to come up with a few indicators, a few figures, a few parameters, which will give you some idea as to what the business is doing, how successful it is. Now, normally, these are what we'll be looking at. We always look at your sales, your growth of sales, your profit margin, your operating costs, etc. What you do at the start of the period, you would set targets for these and monitor them constantly. Some of these you might want to monitor daily. I have a business associate who will never go to sleep unless she knew what her sales that day was. Right? You could be making good sales but no profit, so you'll be looking at your profit margin. Operating costs, which would actually be somehow buried between your sales and your operating cost. Now, if a company wants to attract new customers, what would it be looking at? Sales wouldn't be important to you. You'd be looking at brand equity. How does people think about your brand? What is the worth of your brand? How well is your brand known? And you'd be monitoring that statistics. And that would become one of your KPIs, right? If the company wants to ensure that employees are engaged, we know about that, right? We look at the extent to which staff is engaged on an ongoing basis. We might be looking at how much sales you are generating per staff, how much production per staff. But you would be monitoring statistics, which is telling you what it is your staff is doing, what is your return for your investment in your staff. So all companies really should be setting these key indicators. Now, how should you go about setting it? Anything you cannot control, anything you cannot measure, you really don't have any control over it. So if all you're interested in is monitoring your sales, your cost of sales might be totally out of line. You might be making a lot of profit, right? Mrs. Williams says she monitors her cash, right? You might be very well monitoring your cash, but hi, more is going out than coming in. So, you know, there are several facets you'll have to look at, right? Now, the strategic objective is of the company's first development. You have to say what it is you want to do. Do I want fast growth? Do I want profitability? Do I want market share? You have to decide what you want. And then you set your parameters to match into that. Your parameters could be anything. I don't want you to tie down yourself to any particular figure or parameter. You decide strategically what you want to do and set the parameter to fit in. Now, once you have set your parameters, you have to sensitize your whole team to those parameters. It doesn't make sense the boss say, I want sales of X per month, and he's the only person who knows it. The whole staff has to be engaged. You might be wanting to get a larger share of the market, which would require you to put in some very customer service type operations or activities. You might have a situation where your marketing department is doing a fantastic job, but the telephone operator is undoing everything. You ever know those cases? Right? Recently, somebody called somebody to find out if they could do a particular job. And the person, yeah, him na yeah. No, that was the end of that. Right? So you have to be careful. Everybody on your team has to be singing the same tune. Now, in order to identify the right KPIs for any business, it's important to be clear about your objectives. I go back. You are in business to make profit. You decide how you want to make the profit. You set your objectives, and that tells you what you need to be monitoring on a constant basis. Remember, if you don't know where you're going, you won't know when you reach, and you won't know that you're not reaching there. So set your target, set your port, and get everything in line to achieve it. Now, there are some KPIs which, by and large, everybody has. But please remember that a KPI has to be specific to your business and what you want to achieve. The fact that somebody down the road is monitoring gross profit doesn't mean that you must monitor gross profit also. Gross profit might be relevant to you. Net profit might be more important. Or net profit as a percentage of sales. Or it might be how many customers coming through the door is really critical for you, and what percentage, what amount of sale each one of those customers are prepared to do with you. So it varies greatly and depends on your strategy. Now, well, that part is just repeating it. Everybody must know about it. Now, here are some common key performance indicators. Now, if you're looking at your financial performance, you want to know how good you are in the financing, net profit margin, gross profit, all these. I think, is there anyone there that doesn't know any of these? These are the standard ones, and you should always have them. Now, you could decide, I'm going to be looking at it monthly, I could be looking at it weekly, but please, if it's only annually you're looking at it, forget it. Okay? Something which I just heard recently is that if your accountant is only coming in at year end to do your accounts, you're wasting your money. Really? What value it is for an accountant to come in after the year end to tell you you made a profit or loss? The most he can do for you maybe is tell you how to push a few things here and there to avoid some tax. Now, here are some others. These are a little bit more sophisticated, but they are also measuring your performance. Return on equity, return on asset, debt equity ratio, working capital ratio. All these are key indicators which really gives you a feeling of what your business is doing. And one convenient tool is to have like a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet where you spread across that sheet all these various indicators, and you can monitor them over time. Now, let's say you're interested in getting a real feel of the customers, the people who are working with you, who are spending money with you. Here are some key indicators that you could set up and monitor on a continuing basis. Right? Customer complaints, the last one there. Many of us just don't bother about it. We say it's too fussy. That's critical. Right? Customer turnover rate. How long do I keep one customer? How much repeat sales I have? How much of my purchasers really become customers? These are non-financial information, non-financial indicators, but they have a very big impact on your bottom line. Now, everybody in your organization should know what these indicators are, and they should know what happens if you don't meet those indicators. What effect, what is it telling you? Now, I know that many people are bewildered. How am I going to do all that calculation? Well, that's how we are able to live, right? Call your accountant, and he should be able to set those all up for you. If he has any doubt, you can just come to me, right? We'll do it. And once they are set up, they're easy to monitor. So the thing is to spend a lot of time thinking about your strategy, think about your indicators. These are the things I'm going to monitor. And I'm going to monitor them because if they do not reach my expectation, they do not meet my expectation, and I'm not going to the port that I have set. And with that, I'm told that my time is up. Any question, please?